Hello everyone, this is Dan from the future. I just wanted to say that after we recorded this, I realized that I didn't activate a secondary audio program, and so the audio didn't capture as well as I would have liked, so the audio quality isn't as good on this episode. I apologize for that. Gotta remember to do that in the future. Yeah, just be aware, there's a bit more echo, it's a little more grainy. Very unfortunate. Sorry about that, but enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And we're in the same room.
We are. Not remote this time. Trying to live record.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
But today, we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. I forgot the name. Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
Yeah. Well, we were meant to record last week.
Last week, but it's my schedule is kind of crazy right now, and your schedule is crazy. Because Dan, as you may or may not know, is a professional disc golf player, and he was
amateur.
Professional amateur disc golf player.
Yeah.
He was training for a tournament that he was in this weekend.
Yeah.
Where he got 11 out of 50,000.
It was a large field. It was tough battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was my first tournament, and learned a lot. Holes in the game that I had to work on.
Mm-hmm.
That's life.
And you got a cool shirt.
And I got a memorial shirt. Yes.
Yes.
To remember it and support it.
So aside from that,
Yeah.
was there anything you liked this week?
Yeah, for sure. It's actually kind of interesting. I read this book called C Street by Jeff Charlotte, which was the follow-up to The Family, which I think I mentioned on the last time about the Jesus fundamentalists and stuff like that, and how they want to try to influence politics and stuff. And this book, C Street, is particularly, or more specifically, it kind of talks about there was like a scandal of 3 U.S., I think one of them was a senator and 2 of them were Congress people, that lived at the house and used the house for their purposes, and so it was mostly cheating on their wives kind of a thing, right? And all 3 of them. Yeah, and of course the C Street was covering it up and stuff like that. But he was he talked about it, but he was like, that's not the main story, because that's juicy for the news. People from CNN were contacting him and stuff like that, and he's like, yeah, no, that's not what I want to talk about when it comes to this. So he wrote this book as a follow-up because it's their policies is what he wanted to talk about.
Oh, interesting.
And because these people are going there and being influenced by the people that run this group, the family, and to try to bring Christian, I'll say, in quotes, values to law, and in America and around the world. And what was crazy is that he actually focuses on Uganda, where the president there, which he did go and interview, was enacting these very anti-LGBTQ laws and anti-homosexuality laws and all sorts of stuff like that. And literally today, there was an article in the CBC talking about Uganda and these new laws that this guy has re-signed into law. Literally, it was right from that book.
Oh my god.
It was gross.
Yeah, that is gross.
Yeah, the entire thing, like I was saying you about the family, it's pretty gross because it's this paternal Christendom thing that they're trying to do, where it's the leader is ordained by God to lead, and it's no, it's not, no. It was a really great read, and also literally today, because I was on the wait list for his his most recent one, which is more about, I think, MAGA and QAnon people in the States and stuff like that, again, and how that bleeds into religion. I was on the wait list for it. Just got a notification that's you can borrow your copy now, so
Yay!
I can get into that and be
depressed
and mildly annoyed at life, and just what, again, we've talked about it. I was raised pretty religious. That there's nothing wrong with religious values. There is good stuff. Love your neighbor, help people out. Don't commit murder and this and that.
It's too bad that they just don't follow it.
It's so twisted that it's so gross, and it's been joked about. Daily Show, he did jokes about it, the Republican Jesus, as people shorthand use it. It's that's not the guy. It's not what he taught.
Yeah.
It's not even in the book that you cite as your book.
It's weird how they'll find the most the tiniest little phrase like "man shall not lie with man" or whatever it is, right? But then ignore
everything.
The New Testament.
Yeah, or they'll quote something from Jesus, but it's like wildly out of context.
Yeah.
Because like there's one about how Jesus tells two of his disciples or people with him to like go get some swords. So we're like part of the criminal element, and they're like, well, we don't have any money or whatever. And he's like, well, sell your clothes to get some swords. And then people use that to be like, see, he's telling you to like sell everything to arm up and get guns. And it's like, no, he was trying to get some swords so he'd get arrested by the Romans for having a sword because it was illegal.
Yeah.
That's the story here, what's going on. Anyway, great book.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the follow-up one.
Street, not the Bible, right?
Well,
or both?
Yeah. Well, like you said, the New Testament's got some good stuff in there. But yeah, so yeah, those two, the family and the C Street, were pretty much like a follow-up. He's written a couple in between, but I was more kind of excited for this more recent one because, of course, COVID and QAnon and has melted everyone's brains.
Yeah.
Which also kind of one of the things I went back. I started Behind the Bastards, which is a podcast about.
Yeah, I didn't I tell you to listen to that?
Maybe I've heard it before as well, and I've listened to the occasional episode here or there. But I was like, I'm gonna make a concerted effort. So I'm listening to stuff from like 2018.
Nice.
And of course, some of the things they talk about in relation to Trump, racism, these kind of things. He's like, oh, this or that, and I'm like, oh, happy times back then. Like, yeah, I was
ready.
like, yeah, you don't even know what's coming.
I like that podcast for the most part, but they have so many ads in it.
Yes.
Speaking of which, no,
a word from our sponsors.
Athletic Greens.
No, yeah, it's definitely very annoying to have to. I fast forward through them.
Yeah. They're just so long. They're like 5-minute ad blocks.
Yeah.
Every like 20 minutes, it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, but otherwise, like he does such a good job for researching the topics and like explaining the stuff.
Their two-parter on Baden-Powell is really interesting.
I haven't got there.
Yeah. You were a Boy Scout, right?
Yeah. Briefly, minorly.
Yeah, I was
really.
a Girl Guide.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It makes it like I was into it.
More involved, yeah. That's true. Yeah, and then some vacuuming, sorry. And I also read comic book series. It was 6 issues, I think I want to say. It was Axe, Avengers, and it was around the same time as that X-Men run I was talking about previously that I read, but this was the Avengers.
Nice.
And it actually involved also the Eternals, which was kind of interesting.
Cool.
In Druig, he's like, you know what? He kind of comes around to it that he's like, we're supposed to defend against deviants, and he's like, mutants are deviants because now they're living forever and they're going crazy. So he resurrects like a whole bunch of all eternal machines like from the depths of the earth to basically go kill mutants.
Nice.
And then the mutants and a couple of Eternals that are like, whoa, this is way too far, they construct and bring back Asheron, the Eternal from the Eternals movie.
Okay.
One with the 6 eyes, right?
Okay, yeah.
I guess he died or whatever. They bring him back to life. And then he's like, cool, he stops the war, but then he's like, you all have 24 hours, I'm going to judge all of humanity. And they're like, oh no! Yeah, basically. And then so, yeah, they go through that and try to stop him and they kill him, or what are they going to do, and etc. It was pretty cool. Some neat stuff in there. Nice. I enjoyed that as well. Of course, the Guardians. Was there something else I mentioned there that I said I was bring up? Metalocalypse Season 2, finish that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's always good.
Do you want me to bring up your list here?
Sure, real quick. I don't remember. I don't think there was anything else. No, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. And well, and I'm in the middle of reading, because to take a break from the press Zor, rereading some Salvation, the Peter F. Hamilton book that I recommended.
Yeah, I got it for my dad, the trilogy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
really
so
loved it.
Salvation's the first one, and I was just like, I just didn't know what to read, so I just kind of started it, and I'm like 3/4 of the way through, and I started it like a week ago, not even a week ago.
Nice.
It's just like, it's so good that I'm just like, just keep reading. So, but yeah, I think that's it for me. Yeah, what about yourself?
So I have mostly been watching Boston Legal from 2004 to 2000. Forever ago.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest show. I'd kind of like to do an episode on it to explain to you why it's such a strange show. I'd like to do an episode on Boston Legal because it's so bonkers that I don't think I will do it justice by like trying to explain it
in 30 seconds.
in 30 seconds. So
Sure.
I've been watching that. I watched Fast and Furious 10.
Yeah.
Which again, I feel like we should do an episode on because
Yeah.
it's not very good.
Yeah.
And then what else? I read Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, which is a queer romance novel. That it was really cute.
Oh, cool.
It was just cute. It's a cute book. And what else? That's about it. I've been listening to a lot of Books That Kill, the Michael Hobbs Peter something.
I don't know the name of the other guy.
Yeah,
I know he's a lawyer.
Peter.
Is it? Yeah.
And he's a
Yeah,
lawyer,
right.
and he has his other podcast, which is 5 to 4, which I listen to sometimes.
Is it good? I've been meaning to maybe look it up. Because my other lawyer podcast, I had to stop listening, so...
Oh, why did you have to stop listening?
There was allegations and what have you, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll stop supporting this, so...
Wait, is that A-Lab?
No.
Oh, okay.
Different show.
Okay. No, 5 to 4 is, they look at Supreme Court...
Hence the name 5 to
4.
Yeah.
Supreme Court, cases that have changed
Oh, that's interesting.
laws,
Yeah.
usually for the worse.
Yeah.
Always for the worst.
No,
Yeah.
because there's a book I want to read called American Crusade that's essentially the same thing, but
Oh, cool.
involving, again, more Christian stuff, where, again, they're
Nice,
bringing
yeah.
it to these courts that are, Christian-dominated, and they're like, hey, we'll just slip that in there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's pretty good. But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Books That Kill. I really liked their 2-part series on the book Nudge. I've listened to it several times.
Really? Yeah, I do.
I usually prefer their sillier ones,
Sure.
Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
That was a great episode.
That's a great episode.
Yeah.
The episode on the game is a great episode, and the episode on the secret is a great episode. Those are good introductory ones.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Rich Dad Poor Dad one as well.
Oh, yeah, that one was excellent. But now I'm re-listening to older ones that I didn't enjoy the first time, and
Sure.
and the end of history is actually really interesting.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's
They
so
all-
much. Yeah, they blur together, but
The one that Fukuyama wrote. Was that the end of history?
that
or-
was the end of history. Yeah.
Okay, what's the other one I'm thinking? Who cares? But anyways, Books That Kill is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is good. It's a good, enjoyable show as well. I'm glad I kind of picked it up.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
the first episode was on Freakonomics, and I found it hard to get into because I'm are they just gonna, I know there's problems with Freakonomics.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it, and it led me to be interested in this type of podcast.
Yeah.
It started me on a journey, so I don't really feel like it's fair to just be it's shit and fuck them and stuff, right? And
Sure.
I thought that's what it was all going to be like.
Right.
But yeah, the more they do, the more interesting it becomes. So.
Yeah.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, though, that was a great one.
Yeah, well, and it just comes back to even to the one from Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I had no idea the people behind who had wrote these. That again, the joke. They're just man, just go to therapy. But it's just he's his wife wants help or whatever. And he's I'm just gonna go to my man cave for 2 days, and you're yeah, of course we all want to go to a man cave for 2 days, but we can't.
The love languages one was really
Yes.
good too. That was
my gosh.
oh my god.
Yeah, and then the Rich Dad Poor Dad one too, where it's just he's getting scammed essentially, and he's just a big scammer in the end of the day.
Yeah, he got scammed, and then he teaches other people how to scam.
It's all the grift.
After he scams them.
Which again, it's not very shocking to me, but as someone who listens to Knowledge Fight and other things about these types of people, it's they're all just grifting.
They're just, yeah, it does kind of sorry to go on a tangent here.
Sure.
Sorry to go on a tangent. It's a little bit discouraging because you're is anything real?
Yeah. That's
what books can I read
yeah.
that actually has information in it? Because it just feels all these pop science books are just nothing.
Well, it reminds me of Dan Olson when he was talking about writing his book. And he's
oh no, that too.
Yeah, where he's you have to read a book and then you don't find out that it's junk until you finish reading it and you check another source and you're oh, this source is junk, and you're oh.
that the Contrapreneur episode or essay. That was so good. But then I'm where do I go to get information to make me a better person? Because like my default is I'll go get a book on it and I'll read that book and then I'll know more and then I can make habits or changes to my life based on the information that I've ingested from this book. But then it feels like all the books are just fake.
And this was something of a show I was enjoying, which I don't know if it started up again, or I know there was, that it was, again, it was a podcast, there was an actual scientist, and they would go, this headline said, coffee is killing you or whatever.
Yeah.
She would go to the actual study that was cited, read it, and then tell it back to the host and to the people listening, myself, to be like, here's what the study actually was saying. And I was like, this is good information, because it's real information.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's so, like, disheartening sometimes, though, like, because, like, I'd like to know real information.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to, like, I'm not naive enough anymore to believe that there's just one small trick you can do to make your life significantly better. It's like a series of habits that you have to cultivate over time, and you have to put the work in. And it's not just like, if you put your gym clothes beside your bed, you'll work out in the morning. It's like, yeah, that might eliminate one barrier.
Yeah. But still, it's the morning.
It doesn't fix the problem, right? Like, sleep in your gym clothes.
Oh, no.
It's like, ew, gross.
Yeah, exactly. No.
So it's like weirdly disheartening, but also like empowering because you know how to spot bad information.
Sure, yeah.
But it's just, like I'm just like, I just want some real, like, helpful, concrete advice that's like, hey, here's some actual financial advice. Here's how to budget. Here's how to talk to your spouse. Here's like...
Well, and again, this was something I enjoyed a lot about that other lawyer show I was listening, because again, they would go to, like, the actual sources and then be like, here's the breakdown. Like, again, because when we did that episode about the D&D licensing kerfuffle, I got a lot of information from them because he went to the price determined source and he read the contract, literally read the thing, and he was like, here's what it's saying, here's how it breaks down and everything, and I was like, wow, that was all the stuff that was left out of the entire discourse that everyone was yelling about, which they were yelling about stuff that was indeed incorrect, but there was so much more. And I was just, and again, it was the actual thing. So I guess that's the lesson. Unfortunately, you gotta read the primary source. But then so many things, like, I can't read a science journal and understand it. I'll be like, what is even happening?
I would not understand a science journal.
Or a contract, again, with legalese. Yeah. You may have, a little bit of leg up on that, but it's not easy.
No, not. Not anymore.
Not anymore, sure. It'll come back.
Yeah.
Actually, it was funny, just, again, a small digression story. We got a handbook for something.
Yeah.
I think it was BC Civil case something. Anyway, I, like, opened it up, and I'm, like, just kind of reading it. And I just love the long legalese involved, where it's just like, if they're submitted this day, and then 6 days later, this can happen, but then this is cited to this case, cited to this case, then they can submit 10 days later, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, oh my gosh, and it's like a giant paragraph. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, make it a little simpler?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
But yeah, it's a good podcast, but it might make you have an existential crisis.
Or, like I was saying jokingly about all these other nonfiction books I'm reading, they lead you into a dark place because you're just like, dude, everything is so broken.
It really is, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Okay, let's transition to Guardians.
Something less broken.
Oh no! Oh wait, no wait. What do you think of it? Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it before. I have been a big fan of the previous two Guardians movies. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it was scientifically and perfectly designed by James Gunn for me to enjoy this movie. Right?
That's fair.
Yeah, it was all the beats, all the characters you wanted, all the things you were looking for. Again, minor things here or there, but like, you know one thing I did like about it as well, again, maybe in hindsight or on a rewatch, I could change my mind about it, but it wasn't, like, tons of action.
Yeah.
It was mostly just, like, character interactions constantly, and then they would, okay, maybe we gotta go somewhere, maybe a minor threatening, or not even, like, a fight, and then it would just, or, like, when they go to the one spot, I guess we'll spoilers eventually, but, like, eventually they get into a fight, sure, but it was, like, the fight, and again, maybe this is a James Gunn thing, the fight is, like, the incidental. It's it's just like, okay, we're having some fun action now. But it was like everything that led up to that was like so good and so interesting and fun or heavy. And then it's just like, and now we're doing some action, right? So, I really liked it. How about yourself?
I enjoyed it. It's a movie I never want to watch again.
That's fair. For obvious reasons coming up that we'll talk about.
There's a lot of like I just don't like watching animals get hurt. That's
Sure.
what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So it's not a movie that I would put on. I don't have the same like. I know you really like the first two.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very like they're alright.
Yeah.
About them.
Yeah.
But like especially I'm not trying to be mean. But the second one.
Yeah.
I just didn't really enjoy it that much.
Really?
But I also have a great relationship with my dad.
Sure.
So the emotional parts aren't going to hit me as hard.
That's fair.
Like, my dad is a nice dude.
Yeah. He is? Yeah.
And I feel like the people that like really, really like it don't necessarily have that. So
That's fair.
yeah. Sorry.
No.
Exposing you.
Yeah, no, I mean, even just setting that aside, like I said, I just like the Guardians movies because from the beginning, they were the first ones to be different.
Yeah.
In their like tone and in their setting and everything about them, and that aesthetic that I would just really like. So.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And this one continues that, even though to this point now it's been like 6 years or whatever since the last one that we've seen so much of this kind of stuff. I think he still kind of like use the elements well, and
it was still good. Yeah. I think that's why I enjoyed the first Doctor Strange so much, because it was so different from anything else, and it just made me want to do Tai Chi and mushrooms. So.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, I think, I was thinking about, while I was mowing the lawn today,
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, and I'm like, I think what made the third one more enjoyable for me than the first two was that there was a lot less Peter Quill in it.
I was just about to say, yeah.
And it kind of shined a spotlight on all the other characters who are just more interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of the other characters are more interesting than
Star-Lord.
Yeah. I think, like, when the first movie came out, that was like 2013, 14?
I mean, we could look it up, but yeah, it was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
I feel like Chris Pratt was the perfect cast choice at that time.
Very much.
For what was going on in the world.
Mm.
But like in a post-COVID and a post-Trump world, I'm not as excited to see a mediocre white guy be excellent. Like,
but he's not excellent in this one.
No, he's kind of mediocre. But do you know what I mean? Like, to be like lifted up as like the hero.
Yeah.
It's just not as. It's like I feel like 2012 to 2015/16 was like a real good chunk of like nerd era, like where all this like nerdy shit was readily available for consumption, and we had the Marvel movies, and like TV was doing like superhero shit, and we had
Stranger Things. D&D is popular.
Game of Thrones, like all of that. That was like kind of like all of the nerdy stuff became really cool in that chunk of time. And casting that like kind of like, because like previously Chris Pratt was in
Parks and
Rec, and he was kind of like a himbo-ish kind of nerdy dude, right? And so like all of that just seemed really like elevated, and it was like what all the nerds had wanted for so long, and like they became the cool kids, but it's just like not that atmosphere anymore.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed that his character took a kind of more of a back seat in this. I thought that was a really smart thing to do, and it was interesting to focus on Rocket.
Yeah, that was unexpected for me.
Yeah, me too.
Well, and just to go to also to your point there, where it's like in the opening title crawl, he's being carried by Nebula
Yeah.
Because he passed out drunk.
Yeah.
And so it's like you said, it's like he's not the focus anymore.
Yeah, it's not about him.
Yeah, he's doing his thing and he's there, yes, but
Yeah.
it's like he's lost a step for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was a great image. Just like,
Yeah.
like I said, Nebula just carrying him and everyone else there.
I mean, I kind of felt like Creep by Radiohead was a little too on the nose, but all the music is on the nose of this movie, so...
I was saying, let's talk quickly about this, because
yeah.
I know it's something we've talked about and how you hate it. Even in the theater, you leaned over to me and you're like, they're just going to use every pop song. I don't blame James Gunn and these movies for this aesthetic, because it's part of it's interwoven. The movie was literally called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Yeah.
The Awesome Mix is the name of it. But I blame everybody else who tried to copy it. Which then now, because the third one is so long since the last two, it's like we've seen that it's been happening too much.
Oversaturated.
Yeah, it's oversaturated. And we're looking at the song list here. It's much more varied in this one comparatively to the other two.
Yeah.
Because he was working off tapes. This one, they were working off Zune, so they kind of had, all sorts of access.
Different decades.
Yeah, they had pretty much everything to 2010, basically, that they could access. But, the music still hits well. But like you said, it was a little too on the nose in, many scenes.
I think my issue now, I'm trying to, think of a way to describe it, and it's partially that if you have a catchy song and you're doing anything, you can cut that out and put it on YouTube as a clip for people to watch to help advertise your
TikTok.
movie. TikTok, yeah. So that's one thing, which it feels like when they're making a movie, they're trying to figure out how to get the most content out of it as possible.
Right.
It might be because I'm doing a course on content creation, and I do it for the store, and anytime I make one piece of content, I try to make 5 pieces of content out of the same footage if I can.
Sure.
Because it's a lot of work and it's time fucking consuming, right?
We do a podcast, it's time consuming.
Yeah. So even if you follow us on Instagram, you'll notice that, we're putting up clips into Instagram now. Yeah. Stuff like that, right? Yeah. But I think that's part of the thing that bothers me, because I see it, as a cynical person, when I see that, I'm like, okay, you're just trying to create a viral moment. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is that it just feels like such a cheap way to elicit any sort of emotional reaction, because you're like, this is a great song. Mm-hmm. Creep by Radiohead is a great song. Yeah. I always want to sing along to it, regardless of the situation. But you put Creep on anything, and then it's it elevates whatever it's on.
Yeah, or like you said, it just gives you that emotional cue about how you should be feeling.
Yeah.
Which is something that
I know that all movies use music
that
way.
Say it, yeah.
But an instrumental soundtrack, it feels less invasive than just being
Well, unless again, if you're going to some Christopher Nolan movies, for example. When you get some Hans Zimmer going at high end, high loud, it's like you said, it makes you feel those emotions purposely rather than it being subtle. But there's a choice there.
It's just it's for me, it's too on the nose, and it's too much of an emotional cue. It's if you filmed an old man sitting at a bus stop by himself and you put Mad World over top of it, you're going to want to cry.
But I was going to say, there was one quote I liked from James Gunn. I think it was while he was working on the second one, maybe, where he basically said, he's like, I had a list of music that I wanted to use, and Disney never said no. Marvel's never said no. He was just like, this is a song I want to use, and they were just like, yeah, we'll license it. And so it's I can imagine everything that was chosen, it was him. So I don't know about the third one, but I assume the same probably went along with it, because again, like you said, it was everything was just scientifically designed to be the song.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list right now.
Yeah, I have it
and
here.
So Radiohead, Creep, and then Heart Crazy on You were the first 2 songs.
Yeah.
That's in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
It's too much for me.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just,
But like I said, that was supposed to be
Suicide Squad mentality.
That was
not
unfortunate.
James Gunn,
The other one. No, that's sort of the primary example is that 2016 one. But like I said, that's supposed to be part of the aesthetic. It's supposed to be the mixtape. Like
I understand.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know what would have been more interesting to me if they have to put songs on everything? Is if instead of a Zune with like
thousands of songs,
it had one band's.
Right.
Like, okay, Deep Cut, The Last Unicorn, all the songs were done by America.
Right.
The band America.
Actually, I was about to say, because the ship was named the Bowie, if they just did all Bowie tracks.
Yeah.
Because they had the Bowie track on the first one as well.
Yeah, they should, like, I mean, it worked in Life Aquatic with the Portuguese acoustic versions, like, covers of Bowie songs.
Yeah.
They could have done something. Yeah, all Bowie. That sounds good. I happen to like Bowie, so that works for me.
Yeah.
But it would have been more interesting, like, one album.
Yeah. More even. Just,
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. But like I said, it was just something I know I wanted to bring it up because it was...
It's just... I saw a fucking clip of Florence from Florence and the Machine crying, like, when her song came on.
Oh,
and
really?
I'm like, oh my god, you guys need to... Take a fucking break, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good moment for her. And
it's a great song.
It's a great song.
Too on the nose.
Yeah, it's too on the nose. I think for me, like I said, I preferred it when it was the tapes, when it was the awesome mixtape.
Yeah.
Because then you're limited on your choices, the decades and eras. They wanted to go to Zoom, and then, like I said, just to give them the expanded music choices. But I preferred the first two where it was like, it's a mixtape, and here we go. So.
What if it was like an iPhone that had that YouTube album that
YouTube?
Do you remember when YouTube
uploaded it to everyone's iTunes? Yeah.
What if it was just that album? They had an iPhone with just a YouTube album.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, that would have been great. That would have been a great idea to do. James Gunn.
Successful writer.
Jimmy Gunn.
Jimmy Gunn. Successful writer-director James Gunn.
Yeah, listen to me. I know everything.
Well, and obviously, like I said, you're written and directed by him. It's probably his last Marvel project he'll ever be in.
Oh, yeah, because he has a big DC contract.
He's got a DC deal going right now. So what was interesting was looking at the cast list. It's just like everyone that he's ever worked with, because he's just like, I'm just putting all of them in.
Yeah.
And
I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Is he directing the Joker Harley Quinn musical movie that's coming out?
I would think no.
Okay.
They could probably be directed by the guy who did the other one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Todd Phillips did that one? I can't remember exactly who. I don't think so, because that was done previously to his deal, that it was announced. I honestly, I haven't looked up anything. I don't know what he's working on. I don't know any of their deals. I don't know anything that's going on, because I'm just there's so many rumors, and there's tweets and this, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll just wait till something shows up. And again, going into this one, I had no idea about the rocket focus, or even that, like what I was talking about, because I missed out on the holiday special, that they had found Gamora, and that she was like, no, I'm with the Ravagers. Because I thought this one was going to be about them trying to find Gamora initially.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So I had no idea even about that going into this movie. And one thing I did like was, I thought it was an interesting quote. I think it was from James Gunn. Again, that could be misremembered. But he was basically like, Taika Waititi did me a favor by having the Guardians briefly in Thor, because then he's like, I didn't have to explain why Thor wasn't with them, or what was going on with that whole situation. He's just like, yeah, you saw that in there.
We know what's going on. Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so he was kind of like, he's like, he did me a favor. I didn't have to write anything weird about that. It was just like, it happened. So, but yeah, I haven't really
that would have dragged the movie if we had we gotta drop off Thor, but instead it was so contained.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about that note. Could have been cool is if Thor was there briefly and could have fought Adam Warlock, because that could have been neat. Although in this, Adam Warlock, he was kind of depowered, because he's insanely powerful in the comics, right?
Who played Adam Warlock?
I got his name right here. It's this guy, Will Poulter.
What's he from?
He was in, I think, the Maze Runner movies previously. Sorry.
I feel like I know his face.
Yeah, you've definitely seen him in things. I think he got injured, or someone got injured on those movies, and they were delayed, big time.
Oh.
Yeah, I think, so he's in Midsommar.
Okay.
And if you scroll down, I think, a little further, he's been in a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't recognize him from anything.
Yeah, see, there he's in the Maze Runner movies, so he was in that franchise.
I didn't watch the Maze Runner.
Me neither, but I know he was in them. But yeah.
Oh, he was in Narnia.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Maybe that's what I know him for. I don't think I saw
The Voyage of the Dawn Treader?
No, I think I only saw the first one.
Yeah.
Never mind. I don't know.
No, but you've definitely seen him in things and other things as
Yeah.
well. So. But yeah, he was. It was just kind of it was interesting because I was unsure how the Adam Warlock portrayal was going to be handled because I only really kind of know him from the Thanos storyline in the comics when Thanos does get the Infinity Gauntlet and Warlock actually like comes out of the Soul Stone and like does a whole thing. He's super powerful. It's pretty cool. But I did like it because, of course, it was set up in Guardians 2 from the Sovereign. And then I liked how in this one we find out how the Sovereign is actually made by the High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize the Sovereign aren't in the comics. It was wholly created by James Gunn. And I was like,
cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. And so then he used that with the High Evolutionary to be like, he made them. And I was like, oh, that's cool because then, you know, in this one again, Elizabeth Debicki, she's all just like frazzled the whole time, even though they're supposed to be all like, we're high and mighty. Yeah. And then Adam Warlock, was created at the end of the last movie. So
I thought, one thing that I thought I should highlight, because I thought it was really cool, was the styling and the way Gamora carried herself in this movie absolutely made her feel like a completely different character.
100%.
Yeah, like her hair was like stringier and like just like her general demeanor was so. I thought that
Zoe.
She did a great job of just like.
She's a good actress.
Yeah, but like to play a character you've played before completely different, I thought she did a really good job.
No, 100%. Yeah. I totally agree. And even with Nebula, like her changes over
she's
time.
So good.
Yeah, so good. Like she's still gruff and like I almost kind of like. There's a lot of scenes where because she is a robotic android basically at this point, where it's like. Things happen. It's like she doesn't care. Yeah. Like her whole uniform is on fire and her face is all blackened and she's just like, whatever. Which I like that. Whereas other people would be like, no, what's happened? She's just like, it just rolls with it kind of thing.
I saw an interview with Karen Gillian or Gillian.
It goes back and forth, I think.
With Karen.
Yeah. Karen G. Yeah.
Karen G. Where she was saying when she was first playing Nebula, they were trying to like find her voice and everything. And she was trying all these different things, and then James Gunn's like, what if it was like Marilyn Monroe plus Clint Eastwood? And so she did it, and then the whole character came from that voice. Like she started walking differently.
Yeah, because it's very like husky-ish.
Yeah, like she's like, it's kind of like sultry?
Yeah. Sultry? Or sultry? Yeah.
Sultry and slow. And, and slinky, and it's like, it was interesting.
Yeah, and like we've talked about from like when in Infinity War and like just her growth from even those movies and then into this. Like I didn't know that they were. Yeah, she was running the show essentially because Peter's down and she's like gonna run nowhere and stuff like that. And I just really liked.
This movie just made me want to watch movies about all the characters except for Peter Quill. Like I would watch a Nebula movie. I would love to, so spoilers.
We're going to go into spoilers now.
Yeah. So Mantis and her 3 beasties. Going off and like figuring out who she is.
Yeah.
Or a movie with like Mantis and Drax.
Yeah.
Because their dynamic is super fun.
Always fun, yeah.
I'd love to see like a Rocket and Groot movie.
Sure.
Or like the new
Guardians. Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Like the most. It's funny. Like all the other characters really came to life in this one for me. Like I know they've had growth over time, but
no, I would say it kind of reminds me a lot because people always, to go back a little bit, rag on the Dark Knight Rises, how they're like, well, it's not a Batman movie, and it's like, yeah, because he had his movie. It was Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Then you have the Dark Knight, which is about the Joker.
Yeah.
And Batman, and then the last one is about Catwoman, Bane, and like Ra's al Ghul / Talia al Ghul. Like we've had a Batman movie already. We know Batman.
Yeah.
In this case, like I think it's the same kind of idea. We know Star-Lord. We know Peter Quill.
Yeah.
Let's do some other people.
Let's do something different. Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I kind of liked to flash all the way to the end, everybody's, like you said, they got their own kind of like new story thrusts and storylines. Peter Quill, Gamora kind of wraps up in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Which,
I would watch a movie of just Gamora with the Ravengers. That sounds awesome. Like, that they, at the end, when Florence and the Machine is playing, and she's like, you could tell that she's built, like, friendships and relationships and a family with these Ravagers
Yeah.
that works for her.
Well, and I just liked her line with Peter where she was just like, I bet we were fun. Right?
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah,
it was like
oh,
a good ending point for them,
Yeah, because he was like, yeah, we were. Right.
Okay, just a small nitpick though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peter goes back to see his grandfather
Yeah.
at the end of the movie, and he says offhandedly that his grandfather was like 98 or something like that.
Well, I think he was, because he just didn't know his age. He was like, oh, he's got to be like 98 or something, right?
His grandfather looks like 60 at most.
Sure. He's movie old.
I'm just saying, you could have picked an older dude.
Right.
If that dude is actually 98, then he has the fountain of youth in him.
He's doing well.
He's clearly bathing in the blood of children every night, because he did not look 98. He barely looked 60.
Right.
So that's just, side note. He looked like he could be Peter Quill's dad, not his grandpa.
You're right about that, yes. But they brought in the same actor from.
They could have put fucking old makeup on him. They did it to Chris Evans. Right? No.
Yeah.
Evans?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Captain America.
Captain America.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Pine is the other guy that's not in Marvel.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. And Edgin the Bard from D&D.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go, because we haven't mentioned, of course, the High Evolutionary, played by, I'm going to butcher his name, unfortunately, probably.
Do it.
Tagudi Iwuji?
Mm-hmm.
He was amazing as the villain, and I just liked how there was, like, the subtle, because he had the metal clips on his face, on his head, in the flashback sequences, and then he has more of them in the present, and you're just kind of like, okay, whatever, he's doing some weird facelift stuff, but they're under his skin more than they were when they're on top of his skin, and then at the end reveal, and I'm like, whoa! But his whole performance was so great, and I like James Gunn's quote, which I was reading in the trivia, and on my notes I forgot, was that they basically based the character off of like dictators, where it was like he's single-minded for his goal, everything else doesn't matter, he doesn't care about anything except for the thing he's trying to achieve, which was what he was trying to achieve. In this case, he wanted to achieve the perfect society, blah, 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 eugenics, and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
But he wants Rocket because Rocket's the only creation he's ever made that could think, which I was like, oh, that's really kind of cool, because everything else you've seen him make, it's like highly advanced and crazy. Like he made the Sovereign, but they're just like, egotistical weirdos, and then he's made all these like hybrid animal people.
He made the Planet of Furries.
The Counter Earth, which was based off of like a little bit of like Island Dr. Moreau stuff, right? But everything, all his creations are just like automatons almost in a sense, because like even the new Star kids that he has, he's like, they're super smart, they can disassemble a thing in like 2 minutes, but he's like, that's just rote memorization.
They don't have the creativity that Rocket has.
And which Rocket has displayed since the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? Totally. Where he's always just putting the gadgets together, he's flying, he's doing crazy stuff. Like,
stealing people's limbs.
Stealing people's limbs and, batteries and stuff like that. Right? So, which I liked in the flashback sequence with Rocket, where he's just like, he talks, and then he just takes, like, a little pin for, like, no reason.
For no reason.
Yeah, he's just like, stashes the pin.
He's a raccoon.
Because he's a raccoon.
Part of his nature.
Yeah. But, like, again, I liked his performance, and I liked a lot of the, again, we were scrolling through the list of effects people, and I'm sure if you've watched the credits, you've seen the list of effects people. I thought the effects of his powers looked really cool, and a lot of great stuff.
Everything looked great.
Yeah.
I'm really happy we saw it not in 3D.
Oh, of course, me too.
But even sometimes with the non-3D versions of movies that are in 3D, I find that it's super dark all the time.
Yeah.
So, I really liked, like
his purple suit was so purple.
Yeah, you could see things.
Yeah. Well, and the Orgone, that was the name of the company, but the big, like, eye that they go to.
Eye?
Well, what was it? The big thing in space.
Oh, the big gross flesh
beast thing. Yeah, that they go to. It's like, it's fleshy pink.
Yeah.
And it's very fleshy pink, and like, the goo that comes out of it is the yellow goo.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, it pops.
Yeah.
It's not gray.
I mean, it's nice to not have, like, just dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even the uniforms that Nathan Fillion and the security guys are all wearing are just
hilarious.
weird, like, rubbery flesh things, and you're just like, what is even this?
Like, that whole sequence on that spaceship,
the
organic spaceship, just was like, oh yeah, he did do Slither.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and again, that's what I was saying. Like all of the character interaction stuff and everything was all so good up to the action sequence, which was fine, fun stuff here and there. But like even Peter trying to convince Gamora that he's like, I'm charming this girl, and she's just like, whatever, that's fun. Right?
The one spot that I thought was a little bit out of character for this point in Peter Quill's character arc was when he kind of hit on Nebula a little bit.
Yeah, well,
I get that it's a throwaway joke,
yeah,
but like he was presented as like an alcoholic because he couldn't cope with the loss of his Gamora.
Yeah,
it seems weird to just suddenly like Gamora's like, you should hit on her.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh okay.
Yeah.
Like that felt just a little bit out of character.
Mm.
So it just that bothered me a little bit, but like not enough to like dismiss the movie.
Yeah,
the animal stuff made me want to dismiss the movie.
Yeah, because the major plot point with Rocket, of course, like we were talking about, is that High Evolutionary took a normal raccoon, enhanced him, but he's done this to other animals. An otter, a walrus. What was the other one?
It was like a bunny?
Yeah, a bunny, that's what it was. Yeah, and they're in a cage together. They can all talk now. And, they're horribly maimed.
They're horribly maimed.
Yeah.
And
then there's cages of other animals that either stuff has been done to or waiting to be done to.
And maimed, and then also, like, I guess, like, I have also, like, a soft spot for, like, characters that, like, don't have the cognitive ability to understand
their situation
or that they're in trouble. That always, like, breaks.
Sure, that's what I'm saying. This is James Gunn. He's a good writer.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't want to, like, I want to watch things, like, okay, obviously I love Alex Garland, and he challenges you on things when you watch Alex Garland movies.
Sure.
But for the most part, I want to watch movies to be entertained now. I don't necessarily want to, like, have biases challenged in a superhero movie. Like, not to that degree where I'm like, oh my god, animals, no, I'm too much of a softie now. I'm both very cynical and sad.
Well, and I think, the portrayal, it was exactly like I was saying, it was like scientifically to the line, and then they cut away, or it's like it's perfectly done where you're like, what happened or what's going down, but they don't show it. But it's left in your brain, and
and then you can imagine it.
Yeah, exactly. Because even the reveal of that, when Rocket's like, oh, it'll be great, we're gonna live on the planet, and then the guy, he's like, no, man. Incinerate you all. And then Rocket's like, we have to get out of here. And they're like, no, it'll be fun, or whatever. And he's like, no, this is bad. And you're just like, ooh, no.
This, when he's escaped, like, helping them do a jailbreak, and then, like, the guards come with guns, and then he turns behind them, and they're all dead. I was just like...
No! Rough stuff.
Yeah.
But well done.
It's just the idea of, like, this creature who never asked for any of this.
Defenseless animal to start with.
Defenseless animal, gets horribly maimed, then gets kept in a cage indefinitely, and then their life just ends in more, like, pain and fear and anguish. I'm like, great.
I thought we were watching the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. In the next Spider-Man movie, we're just going to have, like, a 20-minute montage of puppies getting kicked. Like, no.
Yeah, no, it was... again, it's one of those things... I know it's cliche to have your villain hurt an animal to show them how they're evil.
Yeah.
And he doesn't hurt them, per se, but he's using them in scientific experiments.
Oh, he hurts them?
No, that's what I mean, in horrible ways.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, it's not like he just kicks them or whatever, right?
Yeah,
To be like, oh, I'm evil. It's like, but again, it goes back to that single-mindedness where he's like, no, we're going to experiment on every animal until we get it right. And even when Rocket, he's explaining to Rocket how he's like, oh, batch 90, we can make them through this test tube system where, we gas them and they go through 1 million years of evolution in like a second.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, it didn't turn out right. They just incinerated immediately.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't like him. I'm glad he dies.
Sure. Yeah, and then, like I was saying, because in the big final action sequence, let's just say, when they get in there and they're fighting they were just called the Hellspawn, I think it was, or something like that. Hell was in the name.
The what?
For like the elite bad guys that he's created, that the Guardians have to fight the hallway fight through.
Oh, yeah.
They're like the Hellspawn or something like that, I think they call them. Anyway, my point was, I was like, this is a great action scene, but I was also kind of like, let's get back to the character stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
totally.
you know, because again, that's what I was enjoying the most out of the movie. And then, but then there were some great character moments in there, like Nebula like using her arm to like attach to the pyramid to like drive it to the thing and crash, and even just the switcheroo to set up the final action scene was kind of fun, where they're gonna go rescue Peter, and then Peter could escape, and then just like, wait, where are you? So again, that was some clever stuff, and then just
Drax with the kids. That was a great character moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when he's just like. Again, you get Nebulas our cynical one, where she's like, "Why didn't you say you could speak their language? You never asked."
I do like at the end too when she's like, "Oh, you're not Drax the Destroyer, you're Drax the Dad," and I liked that for him. That was good.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Well, and like I said, I was just liking how everything looks so good, and they crashed the pyramid into nowhere, so then they can like offload everybody and all the animals.
Saved all the animals.
Save the animals. Yeah, Metroid meme out there as well. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I really liked it as far as, because again, we've talked about it. Like some endings can be kind of weak, or but I just felt it was all solid.
I know that they had Adam Warlock go save Peter Quill, so that he could be redeemed.
Sure.
But I didn't think that sequence needed to be in the movie.
Yeah, I was kind
of like Peter Quill going back for the MP3 player, and then his face getting all puffy and weird looking, and I'm like,
Yeah, because it was too much like the previous movies.
Yeah.
Like so that one as well. I agree that I was kind of like, they could have handled this a little better. Or whatever.
They could have just had
him make the jump. And I was
how to make the jump, and then they could have had Adam Warlock do something else to redeem himself.
Right. Yeah, maybe he helps save some animals.
Yeah.
Doesn't he say? Yeah, I think he does help save some animals.
He could have, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Rocket could have got stuck, and they're trying to figure out how, and then Adam goes and saves them, something like that.
Sure.
I would have preferred that.
Yeah, because I was like I said, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, he makes the jump, cool.
That would have been fine. Yeah, but it was just a little bit kind of like, eh.
There was a couple of things in the trivia that I wanted to bring up that were kind of interesting, because I wanted to bring up the makeup department for the movie, because I thought, again, I like the costuming and everything. They've got to paint Drax, but then the list, if we were to scroll down, it's insanely long. It's like the visual effects people, because it turns out this movie broke a record for makeup, prosthetics, and
oh, really?
applied to into people and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's so long.
Holy shit.
So. Great job for them. And then I also wanted to bring up the character that when the Ravagers attack or meet them, and there's a character who shows up, he's like a green lizard, I think it is, and he's opening up portals, magic portals.
Wait, what? I don't remember this part.
Well, people out there will remember that he's opening up portals and magic portals. Like
when they're boarding the yeah.
He is the Sorcerer Supreme from Earth. I think it was 616, a different universe. Which there are different Sorcerer Supremes in other universes, and so I kind of because when I saw him, I didn't recognize him, of course, because I don't know comics that well. But I was like, he's got to be a sorcerer of some sort, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's cool. He's the Sorcerer Supreme from another universe.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That's fun. Yeah.
Because he was just opening portals like nothing. Yeah.
I also liked the secretary receptionist lady in the organic spaceship.
Yeah.
She didn't really do much, but she has a kind of interesting screen presence.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know who she is. I don't know what else she's been in, but
I suppose, yeah. Well, I liked because I think her name, if you scroll up or whatever, she was like Una, I think it was.
Una.
I liked how immediately it was like Gamora's just like, if just takes her hostage and starts.
Yeah. That was fun.
And he's like, no, that wasn't the plan.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, Ura, there it is.
What else has she been in? She been in Fast and Furious. No, that's just an ad, right?
Maybe not, because it looks like she was in Fast 10.
Who's Isabella? Oh! She is in Fast 10!
There you go.
Shit! I liked her in that, too!
Yeah.
She was in the Suicide Squad? Oh, she was Ratcatcher?
Ratcatcher. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Again, James Gunn just putting everybody in there. Because, like I was saying to you before we started recording, I wanted to shout out like some of the stunt people, but like all the people who doubled for our main cast, I've doubled for them for so many movies, including James Gunn movies. So I was just like, yeah, like I said, yeah, he's just bringing in everybody. Yeah, she was so good as Ratcatcher too. I didn't recognize her. Yeah, I didn't recognize her at all. But again, she's purple like, skin, yellow eyes.
Yeah, she's kind of a chameleon.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really good in Fast 10.
There you go.
Her part shouldn't have been in the movie.
But was it setting up for Fast 11? Or are they doing Fast X2?
Fast 10.5.
Oh my god.
No, I don't know what they're calling it. Probably FX2.
Yeah, that's
But like her character didn't need to be in there.
Mm.
But she was really good.
There
yeah.
You go.
Okay.
Well, what I was saying, one thing we haven't talked about as well, the budget in the box office. It had about $250 million budget. You can click on that. The third tab there. I think it was like 700. Yeah. So far it's made 724 million worldwide. Doing okay. Yeah. Hasn't reached that $1 billion mark yet, but it's still like what is it, like third week of release or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course the rest of the cast returning, like we said, Drax and Palm as Mantis, who was always hilarious.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed like rethinking about it. Mm-hmm. The Christmas special. I just enjoy Drax and
yeah. I was reading that, like, basically when he's like eats all those nuts. Yeah. That was a reference to the Christmas special where she eats all the nuts or whatever and doesn't share it.
I don't remember.
Oh, no, yeah, fair enough.
I just remember them when they get to like LA. It's pretty like Hollywood. It's pretty funny when they're going to like kidnap Kevin Bacon.
Sure.
To give him as a present.
Yeah, like I said, I gotta watch it. I just haven't got around to it, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, sitting here talking about it, for me, not that many negatives. I just don't like animals getting hurt. Yeah. That's what it comes down to for me. That's totally fair.
Like there's a few like nitpicky things, like I was saying, like the Quill trying to flirt with Nebula, with the Quill. It's all Peter Quill things that bother me apparently. Sure. Quill's jump at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that one for me too, where I was kind of like, it was a little more dragged on than it needed to be. That I was like, okay, he misses. Like I was like, someone's gonna save him. Just similar to the other Guardians, it could have been either picked up or, like I said, he just makes the jump. Yeah. It would have been fine.
And then, like, my third complaint is the complaint that I have with every movie, which is the music.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, I don't know if we said that, speaking about the Otter, I didn't realize it was Linda Cardellini who did the voice of the Otter, which, again, she goes all the way back. She worked with him on Scooby-Doo movies.
Wait, James Gunn did Scooby-Doo movies?
Yeah, he did the first 2 Scooby-Doo movies.
No!
What, you could click on, go to IMDb, click on James Gunn.
I believe you, but I didn't...
Up the top. James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Yeah.
Wait, was she Velma?
She was Velma, yeah.
What?
How do you make Linda Cardellini, Velma, look hot? Oh no, it's Linda Cardellini.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, he did movie 43?
I wrote it, apparently.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's worked so much, right? It'd be way down there, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Super?
Yes.
Oh, wait. I can't click buttons. Who's stupid to be here?
Yeah. There's Slither, like you said.
Yeah, Slither, yeah.
So apparently the initial script for Scooby-Doo 2 was like way intense, and the studio's like, no. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it is interesting considering like his
career. How did he get Scooby-Doo?
I have no idea. Maybe he was just a fan and had a pitch, and the studio was like, all right, let's do it.
Huh. Well, he did the screenplay for Dawn of the Dead, too.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why probably, like, some people would say it's Zack Snyder's best movie, because he didn't write it. James Gunn wrote it. Like, as long as you direct a James Gunn script well, it's going to be good.
Slither was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly, and it's again, like I was saying, it's a good finale for him. You know,
Yeah.
with the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy.
Did the person that chose the picture for his IMDb, is that like an ex-girlfriend that did that?
I don't know.
That ended on bad terms?
I mean, back in the day, IMDb was like sort of crowdsourced, but now it's owned by Amazon. I doubt that. So,
yeah. Oh, is that where you get the X-ray with Prime?
Yes.
I find that so helpful because I'm like, who's that guy?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, like I said, I really like it. Highly recommend if you haven't checked it out by this point, or you've listened to all our spoilers about it for some reason. No, yeah, I liked it a lot, and I was happy.
Or if you like animals being hurt.
Who likes that?
Like psychopaths.
Okay.
I don't want to exclude any of our listeners. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that somebody else
Fair enough.
might like it, might enjoy that part of it.
Yeah. Okay. But no, yeah,
we're canceled now.
Yeah, definitely canceled.
Because I put psychopaths like her.
They might. Who knows?
Now we have to become a hard, like alt-right podcast. But
and then get in a grift.
Yeah, because when you get canceled, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You go.
You grift.
You grift.
Yeah.
You're like women, men, children. No one should have rights. We need to go back to traditional values.
These values do not reflect the Tome of Uselessness crew.
Yeah.
The crew being the other person, me.
They're all your views. When we're off air,
Yeah.
Dan's like, women, what are they doing in the workplace?
This is all cut.
No.
All cut.
This is a bonus episode for Patreon. I guess we should wrap up.
Yeah, I think so.
You'd recommend it?
Highly recommend it. Super enjoyable. Lots of Guardians fun. You know, that Marvel stale, etc. But these are a different kind of, I was going to say animal. but that seemed like the wrong word. But they're a different kind of thing, again, just because of some James Gunn cleverness.
Yeah, I would recommend it if you're a completionist.
Sure.
If you are very sensitive about animal cruelty, I don't know if it's a movie for you.
Yeah, you have to look away or
Look
walk
away.
away. Not go to those scenes. Yeah, go to the washroom.
Bring your earbuds or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Normal movie. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to more episodes. Follow us on Instagram.
YouTube as well.
On YouTube, Tome of Uselessness for both of those.
Yeah, nice and easy.
You can go to website, tomeofuselessness.com. You can... What else do we have?
You can email topic suggestions.
Yeah.
Questions, topic suggestions, review. We're wrong.
Yeah, tell us if we're wrong.
tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. Nice
Perfect.
and easy.
Yeah. And have a lovely afternoon, day, morning, life.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
And stay safe. Thanks for listening.